Hi everyone, welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is my weekly tarot forecast combining a little bit of astrology with a tarot reading, and it intends to present what the issues are that are confronting you on the emotional levels, what kind of things will drive you up or down, or send the current in or out, the undercurrent kind of thing, things to look out for. Perhaps they're about your primary relationships or about other relationships. Basically, it's all things emotional in a 3-card reading. So this reading is for Friday, May 22nd through next Thursday, and that's May 28th. If you like it, if it resonates to you, please like or share or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook and Twitter. You can find all that information there. So we would appreciate that very much if you do that. Now, we do our readings through the astrology signs as they're arranged by their elemental association. So we kind of go around the wheel, the astrological wheel. We start off with our air signs. And air signs, these guys are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And we give every sign also a word of the week, which was pulled ahead of time. And so for air signs, the word of the week is premonition. So I think what that's telling us is that some of our emotional senses will be very heightened. We will be more intuitive air signs rather than sometimes a little bit more of our intellectual or lofty-minded selves. We're going to actually be a little bit more intuitive as an air sign goes. And so there is that. So look for signs that you may see. About premonition is your keyword. So take care with that, okay? Keep in mind that you may get some signs. So now we're going to go ahead to our actual reading. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards and pull those, and we normally pull 3 cards for that. We, the Imperial We, Oberon, me, myself, and I. So I'm going to cut and pull our 3 cards for air signs. We have the 7 of Wands reversed. And we have the Hanged Man upright. And then we have the Tower reversed. Oh dear. Well, if this is about premonitions, please watch out for that Tower thing. It looks like there's some crashing lesson that you really have to try to watch the signs for, that premonition power that I'm talking about. You really have to do that. Something's going on here. With the 7 of Wands, I get the feeling there's a big challenge. It may be an emotional battle between you and either some of your best friends or some of your closest emotional relationships. And you may find that you will have to give up something in order to resolve the situation, to make a sacrifice to keep the peace there. But I'm thinking too that with that Tower there, maybe is really a struggle because there's something here you really don't want to let go of. Ultimately, you're going to understand this. This all seems to be happening in the week. So that's a little bit edgy there. So I would say, please do definitely take care of your emotional life there, because it looks just a little extreme. So that's what I have for you guys. We're going to move on now to the fire signs. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Like fire, they tend to be transformative. They can change one element to another in a more personal sense about themselves. They're energized. They're bright light usually. They lead the way. all those kind of things. So emotionally, they tend to look at some of those situations a little bit differently. Their word of the week is the navigator. And so I'm thinking with the navigator, that's telling us that you have to really navigate yourself through some of the emotional territory. So keep that word that you are on a journey, and you may not have the exact map you need, but you have the skills to plow forward. I don't know enough nautical terms to kind of address that up there, but go forward and use your skills as a navigator to see what the terrain is like there, where you can most safely proceed. So that's what I see for fire signs for this week. As far as the word of the week goes, I'm going to go ahead now and shuffle the cards for your reading. Remind everybody to watch our live streams, which are on Thursday nights Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 9 p.m. We had one last night. And also Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4 p.m. That's also Eastern Standard Time. That's in our YouTube channel, TFT, Tarot for Today. We also give a daily card reading on both our Facebook page and Twitter. And once again, it's the same thing, TFT, Tarot 4. On Twitter, it's the number 4 today. So let's turn over our cards and see what we got here for you guys. The fire signs. Interesting. We have the 9 of Cups, but it's reversed. We have another 9, the 9 of Swords. It's upright. Oh my goodness. 999. We have another 9, the 9 of Wands, which is upright. This is fairly unusual. 999. Nines are incredibly mystic numbers. Anything that adds up to 9 always further reduces down to 9 or vice versa. So like 27 is 9 because 2 plus 7 is 9, 1 plus 8, things like that. So with our 9s here, we have some interesting stuff. The first 9 in and of itself seems to reveal that maybe there's this feeling that you're not very contented with some things. There's a huge sense of discontentment or feeling that certain things are just not really working well for you, that they're not to your advantage. That's the word I'm looking for. What could that be? Well, with the 9 of Swords, I'm wondering if you've been involved in something personal, fire signs, where you try to do a certain form of, maybe it's devotional work. If it's not strictly in the spiritual sense, maybe it's something more like where you are testifying or you are somehow advocating, you're doing advocation work if it's not actual devotional work. And so the difference would be, of course, that one does embroider on the spiritual realm and the other maybe is just more community, person oriented. And either you're feeling like these things have not worked out for you, you're sort of not getting anything out of them, fire signs. And then with the 9 of Wands upright, there's still this sense that maybe you're feeling like you've had this struggle and now you're going to weigh the options and see where you want to go here. And I'm thinking that's why we got the Navigator card, because I think that maybe fire signs, you're really coming to terms with some of what you give, this 9 of Swords thing, and whether or not, you find that really working for you, and whether you would rather just sort of recoup yourself, the 9 of Wands, and move on. You're not as happy and you're feeling like these things don't help you. Navigate away. So that's what I have for the fire signs. That's kind of interesting, eh? I think it is. And so now we're going to move on to the water signs. Water signs are signs like me, Scorpio, but they are also Cancer and Pisces. Water signs tend to be tailor-made for being emotional, having emotional outbursts, not understanding things because you maybe only understand the emotional part of it. I think there's an emotional intelligence, and I think people should respect feelings, but I also think too, maybe this is the practical part coming from the other elements in my chart, that we do have to find that balance with logic. So Remember that. Those are, once again, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And you have a word of the week too, water signs. Your word of the week is offering. And I think that's a really devotional card or an avocational card of sorts. And I think this is saying, water signs, you will be happy this week if you find yourself giving things. You're giving things either for a common good, for people, for somebody you know personally. You're giving things up in a sense of spirit. Maybe you're going to try to pray more. Maybe you're going to try to pray with somebody, for somebody. Maybe you're going to think of people you know who need some healing and light candles, things like that. So that's what I see for you guys as far as a word of the week goes. So now let's go ahead and roll with our reading for water signs. We just dropped onto YouTube our monthly, and that's as we go into Gemini, monthly modality messages, which is our unique Banshee kind of crafted it superbly from an idea I had. So it was kind of interesting how we worked on that one together. But 2 tarot readers are better than 1. And it is a unique kind of astrological reading because it looks really at each sign and each modality, which is a different concept within astrology, fixed, mutable, or cardinal, which provide a key to how your energies work during the month and how you resolve problems or how you deal with situations. I really think it's a unique reading. That dropped down on YouTube recently in the last day or so. So anyway, maybe I'll cut that out later. Your 3 cards, water signs. You have the upright 7 of Swords. You have the upright 5 of Cups. And you have the upright Empress. That's pretty heady, so I think I can understand why we have the idea about offering here, because I think water signs are going to be having their hands full with some interesting emotional situations that are represented with these cards. With the 7 of Swords, I think we're finding out that there are some deceptions, and maybe they're not light ones. Maybe we're going to have to protect our own. Maybe we're finding out about, you know, a certain level of neediness, and maybe that is an opportunity for us to try to apply some offer and some help. Maybe you will find that something you have to give up to somebody else who really needs it more. I don't know, that's kind of a little bit what I'm getting from the 7 of Swords. I also feel too that maybe we will be working with those personal spaces of depression and feeling, you know, not quite together from the spiritual and emotional department. The 5 of Cups usually talks to a strong sense of desolation or a strong sense of being isolated and feeling alone and ultra needy. But the Empress seems to be a good card, and so I'm thinking that when I put that together and when I think about the offering, the word of the week, that I'm thinking that we have to find our inner Empress, and we have to help other people find our inner Empress. And I think that there's a level of healing implied in that card, but also really moving ahead on projects, bringing people along with you, perhaps. That 7 of Swords still bothers me a little bit, so watch out for that. But that's what I have for the water signs. So let's move on. Finally, we're going to move on to the earth signs. Earth signs, you are Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. From the emotional perspective, you may not always show a lot of what you feel. You'll feel it, but you shoulder it differently. You kind of internalize it or think about it more. You may move a little more slowly on how you want to resolve those situations. You're more practical than a lot of the other people when it comes to the emotional matters. And earth signs, this is kind of nice. I like this. Your word of the week is regeneration. So I think earth signs, you're going to have opportunities to work on your own inner healing, to apply those concepts to the emotional situations that you're going to be encountering. And there's a certain level implied of a new start with regeneration. To me, it just sort of seems like, not maybe like it's a new direction, but maybe it's like something recharges you to the point where you get a fresh start. I'm thinking you're still where you're at in terms of, like, it's not like a change of job or a change of major relationship, but something sort of clears the deck for action or resets the table. I really do feel that. I don't feel it's an ultra dramatic change, but I'm not going to leave that out. You know, my regeneration is not necessarily your regeneration. Sometimes if I just get a good nap for a day, no, I don't take day-long naps. I honestly don't do that. So let's go ahead and shuffle those cards here and see what we got. And did you like my little scarfy blankie here with the rainbow cats? That's so cute. I just thought I would go for some popping colors here today. So I got orange and green. It's really olive and rainbow, and then dark cranberry. No wonder people think I'm colorblind. Okay, here we go. We have 3 cards. We have the star. That's upright. It's a beautiful card for us here. We once again have that 9 of Swords. That's very interesting. So that tells me that maybe this implies a bigger issue that has emotional weight that we might be tuned into or dealing with. And then we have the 4 of Discs. And that one's upright. These cards, the star tells us that I think what we're looking for is a lot of hope and inspiration. When we're looking with that idea of regeneration, I think we're earth signs finding out that we're going to have a lot of responsibilities. Earth signs in general are the kind of signs that work a lot from their sense of obligation, service, and responsibility. Things about jobs, employment fall into some of the earth signs purview, and of course material matters, financials. But with the star there, I think it's saying, like, we have to trust more to a little bit more abstract, that things are going to be happening that will give us insights, but also make us understand that there is a divine plan of sorts, and we're going to need that, because with the 9 of Swords there, and of course because it occurred in the previous reading for the water signs, I'm actually wondering if this is talking about some recent developments. Dam flooding in Michigan, lots of flooding there, 10,000 evacuated, and I realize that that's just my own state, Michigan, but that there are, besides COVID and situations like that, there are so many other situations that are starting to spiral out of control or require more participation from different levels of agencies or community to address them. And so with that 9 of Swords there, I'm thinking there is this sense of feeling, and it's sadness a little bit, but it's a sense of wanting to work on those healing aspects that, like the star maybe moves on and says, just hug the world harder than ever. Now, sometimes people disagree about the 9 of Swords, and they feel like maybe that pain or suffering is not necessarily obligated to be yours or is your burden. But I'm thinking this is really of a stronger dimension. It is outside of your own personal life, maybe. On the other hand, you could be somebody that's being strongly affected by these events. It just may be that you have to really try to be that star and be that light. And with the 4 of Pentacles upright too, I'm also getting a feeling that I'm not really appreciating in terms of, well, I don't know if it's about appreciating or not appreciating, but it's trying to say that maybe this is a time really to hold on to some material resources. So I am not telling people to hoard. No, please do not hoard. That causes more problems. But I'm thinking people are going to have to look at their security and their provisional access to things that they're going to need. And I'm wondering if it is about this, the flooding or other possible disasters. I mean, my reading generally is intended for whoever's watching, but I figure most of my audience is watching from the States and or maybe even closer to where I live in Michigan. So I'm a little concerned about that. And I'm looking at the regeneration. I'm wondering if, earth signs, some of you guys make excellent healers too. So maybe we'll be looking at that. Maybe we'll be looking at how we help each other create a network for healing. So it's very interesting, of course. That's what I have for this week of Oberon's outlook on the emotional exchanges. So I thank you very much for coming. Once again, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you again in about a week and review it again.